everybody. A little bit of dead air there. I didn't have my microphone on. Now I feel like Tony. You getting your phone working?
Mhm.
We're going to have lots of cars for you today. Lots of different ones. I think we have sound now, Buff.
Yes.
I can see it. I can see the graph or whatever you call it.
Fernandez was here.
Hello, Steven.
Let me see. Dan Boyd.
Danny Boyd. I don't think he's here anymore, though. He was just telling me that Jay was live.
Jay is also here.
Jay, I see him.
Bob Campo.
Yes, I saw Buff.
Chris.
Hello, Chris.
That's it so far.
That's it so far. You didn't even call out my name.
You're not important.
I know. Next, my friend wasn't. Your friend wasn't what?
My
Oh,
friend wants 99 Hilux.
there's no such thing. Jay, they started selling trucks in Mexico about 2002 or 2003. So we're gonna have to wait still a little bit.
Mike N is here.
Hello, Mike.
Hi, Steven. Hi, Jay.
See where the borders were just starting to open up at the early 2000s. So the car companies came in. Honda was
I even
here.
started the pictures.
Honda was here from 97, I think they started selling cars. So they sold the 97 Accord for 1 year, then they jumped to the new design, the 98. But the rest of them, like Toyota, Mazda, all of those came in the early 2000s.
Buddy Carafanos here.
Hello, buddy.
Um, okay, 2002, says Jay. Hilux.
Okay, I can probably find one that was made in September of 2026, and that would be a 2002 model, but that'll take some
2026.
doing. So because I have to find one that's made.
Wait. 2026?
Yeah.
2002? 2026?
Yes. It's if it's made in September of 2026 as a 2002 model, it's 25 years old.
Okay.
According to the date of manufacturer, not the manufacturer date. Because right now we're halfway between last year and this year. So on the 2001 models, there's a 50-50 chance it was made before today's date and it can cross, or it's made after today's date and it can't cross. Oh,
Then
Danny Boyd's back.
let me answer.
I know, I heard you.
No, you didn't. You answered for me.
He likes a lot of exclamation marks. You forgot the exclamation mark in front of the H, the upside down exclamation mark in front of the H. You're going to see a lot of Ram Chargers on here as I was going through and just saving what I was saving. Because when I look at this one, like the red one here,
Mm-hmm.
I think paint job, easy. And it's a nice truck again. Not difficult at all. And we know what the sun does to red cars in Mexico. But like I was saying on Buff's Live on Thursday, I have a customer ready to send the money for the really clean black Ram Charger manual stick shift. And owner of the truck, I asked the owner of the truck, will you be able to, deal with me on the 30th of March? He says, there's somebody coming this Sunday to look at it. So I'll tell you if it sells or not. That's my luck.
Mike asked, what is the upside down exclamation mark called?
That's your department. I don't know.
I don't know that it has a different name, the exclamation mark.
On a question, you have to put the upside down question mark in front of the question too in Spanish.
Believe in yourself is here.
Hello, believe in yourself. Oh, a little bit of tear on the seat. That's okay. It can be tidied up. What?
Nothing.
Always something.
No.
Yes.
No.
So my luck continues where I have a customer ready to buy something and all of a sudden there's somebody else coming to look at the truck.
This is called the Aussie question mark.
Upside down. A little bit more of a tear than the other picture showed.
Mm.
I'm sure that can be fixed. It's just that one thing. This truck is in Culiacan, so it's not that far from here.
Mm.
And I have a guy that wants me to give him prices on like 15 of them. So
15.
so I have to do that after this live. Plus on some carryalls too, a different guy.
Dan says this looks like one of my vehicles.
All beat up, Dan. This one in Culiacan is not that bad. Missing the wheel caps, but it doesn't look that bad, and it's only 2 hours from here.
Jesus, these?
Yes, but you're missing the upside down question mark. Okay. I have it on my keyboard, so I know exactly where it is. And then about 2 years ago, there was a Ram Charger in some place in Nayarit. I can't pronounce the name of the city,
Mm-hmm.
but it has Sinaloa plates, and it owes like 16,000 pesos or whatever on it. And I was talking to the guy about it, and he said it's sold. Okay, fine. Well, it comes back on. It was published a day ago, sitting in the exact same spot it always was, with the same Sinaloa plates on it. Of course, it owes a lot more now, but it's a decent truck. It just needs the silver paint to be painted.
Uno says all beat up.
Hello,
Hey,
Uno.
hey, Uno.
Well, these trucks are work trucks. People buy them to work. It looks like somebody lowered this one though.
It does kind of.
The wheels are touching the fender wells front and back, so I don't know how the ride would be on that one because they're supposed to be, I don't know, 3/4 of a foot on the rear wheel to the fender well on all of these. Jay's asking a question.
Jay says my phone can
Make these?
make this. Yes. Uno says chicle. If you want, I'm gonna diet right now.
I can't chew gum anymore. My teeth says hell no.
Barracuda's here,
Hello, Barry.
and they say I enjoy a good joke.
Most people do. It's just trying to find a good joke. That's the problem. I took all of the ones from my Sinaloa page and put them on here because it was easy. This thing, look at the license plates. They're from the 90s. It's a pretty car though, and we know where to get license plates. Outside of here. I don't know how they would handle that. It's not in the system anymore, so they can't say, "Hey, you're expired." Was it 27, 28 years now from those license plates?
I was watching a girl on TikTok that always paid for her plates, but never paid for her sticker because she didn't know that she had to pay for the sticker. So she owed a bunch of money on the, back on the car on the sticker.
So she got the plates when she got the car, but never renewed it.
I only renewed the plates, not the sticker.
What does that mean?
I have
It's
no
the same
idea.
thing.
That's what I thought because when you go
There's
pay
only
it,
one renewal. Are you talking about tenencia and la tarjeta? We don't have Tenencia anymore.
Hold on. Sirando says, ¿qué pasa?
That's a question, Steve. Good. It works.
And Jay says, they have salvage yards in Mexico, and what is the going rate for a scrap car?
I don't know. I don't scrap cars. But yeah, you can sell your car to a salvage yard, but there's no yards around here that have any old cars.
Pericola says, hello all. Warming up yet, Chris? And Danny Boy says, was just talking to my madre en el teléfono.
Por el teléfono.
Chris says, Barracuda, not really. Temps constantly bouncing above and below freezing.
Oh, and we're sweating in the 90s here, Chris. Oof. All right, we have Mrs. Beck has a fan on to keep it a little bit cooler in here.
Dan says, and I'm drink. I'm drink? Are you a drink?
Have you been drinking today, Dan? Is this your weekend to drink?
Brandon says, still fighting burning stumps down by the pond, not getting much burnt.
Throw some gasoline on it. That's probably a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Dan says, them bug-eyed headlights on that 57 are too much.
157. Hey Buff, you like this one? Packard Flipper, 1957. You see where they put two headlights where one headlight used to be? They just shoved it in there.
Jay says to Chris, I got sick last week because of the weather. Dan says, yes, I had like 4 half glasses of gin.
Then not you're drinking or you're drunk, one or the other. That go ahead.
57?
That's what the ad said. I don't know the difference. I guess it is. Or maybe it's a 58. I don't know. Maybe it's a 58 because it has two headlights.
Chris says to Jay, yeah, the distinct lack of sunlight isn't helping things either. Faith Van Ark is here.
Hello, Faith.
Student says kerosene already did.
Oh, okay. Didn't help? You didn't get the whoosh?
Jay says that's cool. Dan says Packard's Corvette.
It needs lots of work, though.
And Buffalo Campos says 58 Packard.
Yeah, but people here don't know the difference. It may say 57 on their paperwork because it was sold in 57. Who knows? I don't really know.
Student says 1958. Dan says, oh, it's a Mordor.
You can't find a 58 Packard anywhere, Dan, so you take what you can get, especially in Mexico.
Student says Packard Hog was cool.
There was one for sale here one time, Steven. It didn't say the name of the car anywhere on it because it had that really, the slope nose. I had to go onto Google to figure out what kind of car it was. I don't think it's for sale anymore, though.
Faith Van Ark is, how's everyone doing today? As usual, I'm falling asleep. Dan says, call me Ricardo, but I am unashamedly four-door averse.
I like 4 doors, so I don't have to open the door for anybody or push the seat forward. And I don't have any young kids in my life anymore, so people are allowed to open the door. When they turn 18, they're allowed to open their own door.
Fernando says, yes, whoosh, didn't last.
Like when I put the leaves on our fire here, we get a whoosh and that's it.
Dan says, I love this 1960 Chevy.
It looks pretty good in black.
Is it black? It looks like dark green to me.
It is black with red.
Mm.
But still, I don't know, it doesn't scream clean to me. Like the big wheels under the fender wells there. Why is the car so low?
Believe says, I'm a sedan fan. I like grandpa mode.
So do I. I don't mind the other doors. How are you going to put a fender in the back seat if it's not a 4-door, Dan?
Dan says, the rear doors are for kids.
Or whoever gets in there.
Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab is here.
Hello, Dr. Art. I hope you enjoy Mexican cars because that's what these are. Pictures aren't that great, but the cars are.
Granddad's junk is here.
Hello, Granddad. You're
Mm,
now Mrs. Mexi.
mm. This is a 1950 Packard Standard 8 with a 288 inline 8 cylinder, 3 on the 3. Even had a Lockheed master cylinder.
Lockheed Master
Lucky.
Cylinder.
Mm, Chris said to Granddad,
I'll 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 give you I'll do you one better on that, Jay. A friend of mine handed me the keys to his '49 Henny Packard Landau hearse, black, purple mohair interior, front to rear, and he says, "Go get it registered." We were in California, so I drove it to the DMV, got a VIN inspection, got him license plates, got his title and everything, and delivered it back to him. Man, that thing was a monster to drive. I think the car is in Canada now. I've seen pictures of it, and I think it's in Canada now. This was in 1985 or 1986, right around there. But what a beautiful car! Had hydraulic front windows. Never seen that before.
Dan says, nothing says you got dependents like a four-door. What does that mean?
Means you have kids.
Ah, Barracuda says, that reminds me, Chris, I told you an untruth. I said that in the middle of summer here, it's regularly 111 Fahrenheit. It's actually 104 Fahrenheit. He used to do something to get to 111-ish, some 70s and 80s.
Oh, we got you way beat Barracuda here where we are. We get into the 120s here.
Mm,
It just is.
hmm Chris says, Granddad's Junk, how's it going? Weather still sucks though. How's things on the South Island? Lester the Sabres here.
Hello, Lester. Thanks for joining us.
Chris says to Barry, only 104 Fahrenheit? Dang, now I'm going to cancel my plans to move there. Jay says, Henry Packard, cool.
No, Jay. Henny, Henney. That was the manufacturer that used Packards to turn into hearses and ambulances and stuff. You know, like Superior did Cadillacs, Superior did some Pontiacs. Henny was the only one working with Packard at the time, but it was a gorgeous, gorgeous car.
Steven Andrews says the 1960 to 62 Valiants and Lancers were better looking as four doors than two doors. Few cars does.
I had a two-door 1962 Valiant. It wasn't that bad. Jay, I had to park the car in front of my parents' house on a hill. I pulled up in front of the house, and then I started turning the steering wheel to the left. I had to keep moving the car forward. Of course, it was a manual, moving the car forward and then back to the curb, moving the car forward, turning the steering wheel more. You cannot move that steering wheel unless the car is moving. It was a lot of fun.
Dr. R says, yeah, cool. Jay says, Lester. And Dan says, wait, no, he doesn't say anything.
He's deleting. It is a 62 Galaxy.
Jay says, Dr. Art, how's the weather in Tennessee today? Dr. Art answers, 80 and sun.
Oh, that's good. Perfect for working on cars.
Dan says, I really like them. I really like them 62 Galaxies.
It's a clean design compared. They took the fins off, rounded the rear fins. It's a very clean design.
Bob de Campo says, I had several 62 Fords. That's a nice looking one.
Why are you complimenting a four door, Dan?
Okay. Barracuda says, probably 130 Fahrenheit in my garage sometimes. Granaz Young says, great mate. I'm in Invercargill. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry. We went to our grandchildren athletics. My grandson won the 8-year-old 400 relay. Ooh, unbelievable. His rugby coach was there. What a finish. He blasted to the finish line.
That's good. Does he also play soccer? Because my 8-year-old played soccer, and there's nothing more boring in the world than watching 8-year-olds run up and down a soccer field doing absolutely nothing. But you had to sit there and smile. I've got my fake smile down.
Okay.
Everybody knows it.
Believe in Yourself says Armstrong steering.
Yeah, it's even more than that because in a regular Packard, It was heavy. You add all the hearse, it was like, I don't know, 4 tons or something, 4 or 5 tons to move that car around. Absolutely crazy.
Jay says, now you're just bragging, Dr. Art. Um, Dan says, hello, Jay. That gene is taking effect. Okay. Dr. Art says, yes. Chris says, granddad's nice. Invercargill, is that the very bottom of the country, right? What's the weather like down there?
How
Dan,
far away is it from Antarctica?
Dan says, I like muscle cars best. They tend to be two doors.
You can have the same engine in a 4 door, and it'll still kick the crap out of the 2 door.
Dan says, soccer is boring on the field.
Soccer is boring all around. Of course, we call it football here.
Simandro says, too bad the next, the 61 bubble top roof for the 62.
Mm.
Barracuda says, that's when I knock off extra early for a beer or two. Simandro says, builds muscles.
I don't mind driving it around, but sitting on a hill with your foot on the brake, and then you have to accelerate quickly, let out the clutch on that car, and then try to turn the steering wheel to the left, and then let it go back to the curb, and then a little bit more and a little bit more because you can't do it all at once because it's such a huge steering wheel. And then hope it was still in the same place when you came out in the morning. That was the thing. That was the
Maybe
thing.
that's what happened to Christian. Not the person. Sorry.
No. Sherry had a park. Dan, it's called Futbol. And there's some accents in there somewhere. Get the W out of there. Football.
Dan says, nice Blanca interior. Bob the Campus says, is that 63 Dodge at 318 or 225?
It's a 225. I didn't have a picture of the engine, I don't think. But yeah, I was going to publish that, but there's not enough pictures of it. And they want quite a bit of it for a 4 door slant six car.
Dan says, Blanca y verde.
What's Blanca Verde?
In the interior.
It was?
I don't know. I'm looking at the chat. I'm not looking at the pictures.
Looks like red to me. Red Mustang.
The car before that.
On these, you have to get really close to the speedometer to see if it's a Mexican car or not, because in the 80s, there were Americans here buying up all of the Mexican Mustangs and taking them to the US. So over the years after that, people bought Mustangs there and brought them back in that were American. So it's hard to find one that has the metric speedometer in it.
Brandon Strong says, icebergs and penguins run up the streets. Barracuda says, I've only been to Invercargill four times. Dan says, I am literate despite all them años at universidad.
But you can learn, can't you?
Dan says, nice tang.
68 is, yes. It's only 2 hours from me, but nobody ever asked me about it, so it still sits there. It's been for sale for some years. Keep up with the chat.
¡Ay! No me dejas estirarme. Dios mío. Jay asked Dr. Art, had a live stream subscriber drive today. If you like, comment and oh fuck. I me asustaste. Oh, sorry, there was a bug on me and I thought it was like a poisonous bug, but it's not. It's just a regular.
Was a flying bug?
Yeah, that one right there.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was like a spider or something, but it was just a regular bug. Sorry. And so yes, JS Dr. Art had a live stream subscriber drive today. If you like, commented, and subscribed, I wrote their name on the hood of the Lambo with a paint pen. Plus 40 subscribers. Sorry, Lambo Max rules. Lambo.
Lambo.
Yes. Oh, Lambo in quotations.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, okay. I wasn't gonna say anything, Jay.
You
It's
were
it's
too.
it's your story. You tell it.
Uh-huh.
This car looks pretty clean for a Rambler. Two door, Dan. It's a two door. It's a two door sedan. Did they come in this color? I don't know. Too nice a color for a Rambler.
Jesus, I can't imagine having a car for sale for 2 years.
People don't really care. You know, they put a big price on it and then they just sit on it. It just sits in their garage or sits in front of the house or whatever. You have to ask in a situation like that, can you send me pictures of the car now? Because it's not going to be what it looked like in the pictures you're looking at. We just ran into that with the Ram Charger,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't even that long. He hadn't had it that long.
Jay says, you always say it, Max.
I know, but I wasn't going to say it this time.
Yeah, uh-huh, uh-huh. Dan says, I looked out at Universidad and escaped with no hijos.
How do you know? Do you know for sure 100%?
Granda's Young says, we popped into the Hot Rod show on the way down. From where?
He said he went to see his 8-year-old.
Mm. You're the one that can keep up with like 10 different conversations at once. I can not even keep up with one. Dan says, nice javelin, pretty sure. Surrender says, oh, there are several around here I've watched for 4 or 5 years still on sale.
Mm-hmm.
Still,
but people here don't lower prices or anything else. It's just take it or leave it, and everybody leaves it. Wait till you see what's under the hood, Mike and Dan. You'll notice.
Why do you take my job?
You notice there's a radio, but no air conditioning, no heater, no nothing, no controls of any kind.
I'm so mad at you. Why do you take my job?
I'm waiting for you.
No, you're not.
By the time I wait for you, the picture's gone.
That is not true.
Yes. So read the comments when they come in.
Jay's a javelin sweet. Barcuda says there's a racetrack in Invercargill where the 60s Formula One drivers competed in the Tasman Series in their off season. Also, F5000 racing. That it was a nice
Wood
grain, I guess. Yes.
The interior is nice in it. I'll give it that. Probably original.
Chris says around the junk. Weren't you going to Christchurch to see your kid? Around the junk says Barracuda. Taratonga is a very good track. Jay says, do people haggle at all?
I guess they do, but people don't want to give it away. Here's that 70 El Camino I showed you, Dr. Art. Just happened to show up here because it's in my state. I just took everything on the list. It's in my state.
That says best AMC steering wheel right here, right there.
There's an inline six under the hood of that Javelin, though. I don't know if you saw it. I don't remember if I had a picture of it, but we didn't have any V8s in those, so you took what you could get.
Jay says Mrs. Spec is doing fine. I don't know about that, but thank you. Barguda says small bit good. Small bit good.
Small but good.
Small but good?
Mm-hmm. With the racetrack.
Mike says these two talk to each other just like me and my wife. I talk big, but I know who the boss really is.
No comment, Mike.
Dan says Elsie. Jay says if someone is asking 5,000 pesos, I'm going to offer 4,000.
Yeah, and they'll probably tell you to take a hike. You have to ask them. You can't offer like over Facebook. You don't offer money, but you say, "Is the price negotiable?" Then you know who you're dealing with.
Dan says 232 or 258. Don't scare me.
It should be the 4.2.
4.2.
Yeah.
Brenda Young says, now I'm at my other granddaughter's place with her 5 children. Um, Dan says LS.
Yes, Dan, and that's a reason why I cannot sell this car. I'm gonna have to take it off my list because I can't send a car across the border that has an engine swap in it.
Mm. Brenda Young says, my oldest daughter is in Greymouth with 3 children.
They say it Grimmeth.
Mm.
You have to talk like they do.
No. Barracuda says, Steve McQueen had an El Camino like that. GM gave it to him.
I'm sure that one was all stock. And then Steve McQueen did something with it. But here's another one that has the old white and green license plate, and that one's from Mexico State, which says Mex-Mex on it. I'd like to have that plate on my wall. I like those plates. But yeah, this thing's been for sale for a long time.
Grace asks to Granda's John, how many grandkids do you have? Granda's answers, 11 wee darlings. I haven't taken my pills. Give me a minute.
I don't have any grandkids. I only have one kid, and he's in medical school, and he's not interested in females right now. He couldn't be even if he wanted to. The way the stuff is in the town he lives in. Is that grabber red, Dan? Is there a grabber red? Jay says you really can't import a car that has a different engine. No, EPA rejects it. Not allowed. I mean, if the car had a 318 and it has a different 318 in it, that's fine. But a car that had a 350 and then it has an LS in it, no, they won't accept that. You say gray mouth, really? Aren't you part of England? They say Greymouth on all of their stuff. Chris says granddad's junk. Wow, you have a lot of granddadding to do. Mercury wheels, Dan, with the GT on it. Those weren't Mercury wheels.
Granda John says, they are so much fun. The young ones love Granda's silly songs. Dan says, FIPA? I don't know what that is. And Chris says, hey, medical students do need to study anatomy.
Yes, but like I said, what is the way the situation is in that town? He cannot go out with anybody. He can't have anybody come over. He can't do anything. So he's just concentrating on studying right now.
That's what the internet is for.
And he better be listening right now.
Chris says, Granda's junk, that's awesome. Dan says, Ellis is cleaner than the 350.
The EPA doesn't care.
Jay says, those females are too much trouble anyway.
The one he had was.
Dan says, drywall screw in the mirror.
Whatever works, Dan.
Brenda says, Chris, do you have any grandchildren? Dan says, Mercury only has the 5 slot wheels. Chris says to Granda's junk, nope, just have the one son who's 24.
Tell me get busy, Chris.
I know. Dan says, if EPA can kiss, I'm not going to know what.
Well, they set the rules and we have to abide by their rules. So we haven't had any trouble with anything that crossed yet. Either way, I mean, they were all had the original sized engines. They weren't the same numbers, but they were the same engines.
No hagas eso, me vas a hacer contestar.
Mm.
Ay.
We'll just say yes, they are, Dan.
Sure.
Excuse you. I wonder if the upholstery guy here could match the front seats in this wagon and
Stop it! I'm gonna find.
what
I'm
and
gonna
do the back seats.
I'm gonna put you on a.
What are you talking
What
about?
do you call it? You keep
I'm just,
swearing.
oh, stop it, Dan. We know what that word means. This obviously was a U.S. car that was brought into Mexico because it has the overhead cam engine in it, but the rear seat doesn't match the front. They only did the front seats in it. So I wonder if the upholstery guy here could match it. The black vinyl and the red plaid inserts. My mouth. I'm not doing anything that's going to get the Fury upset at me.
No.
See, those are the front seats with the red plaid, but they didn't do the back seats.
With the flag.
The back seat. I wonder if the upholstery guy here could match that.
Brando says, "What if you had a 350 Chevy and you put a 327 or 400 small block in? Do they check casting numbers?"
I don't think they would even pay attention to it being a different size. But obviously, if you have a 1970 model and you have an engine from the 90s, it's not going to pass. I don't think anybody's checking engine numbers. Nobody got time for that.
Dan says, "Debut for the grace of God, cause my dumbass."
Really washed out pictures. Black on a Galaxy. Kind of like a police car. A four door, isn't it?
I don't know, babes.
That answered the question. Yes, it's a four door. We could make that into Streets of San Francisco car.
Mm. Mike N says, "Have most of these cars been reupholstered at some point? I'm amazed at the condition there's 20 plus year old cars interiors are."
Some of them probably have, but some of them are original to the car. Like that Javelin, either he bought a set of seat covers from somebody in the U.S. and put them on, or they were still original to the car because that was the design that they had in that car. People here, a car is not a throwaway item like it is in the U.S. People take care, well, good people take care of what they have.
Dan says to Mike N, "Mexico is where you want your ride upholstered."
It depends who does it, Dan. I'm not going to say everybody's good because I had a guy that wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
He did the Mercury Capri that I had, and it was just his work was terrible. It didn't last very long, which was probably my fault because I chose the fabric and it was not automobile upholstery fabric. It was just the only brown fabric I could find.
I like the fabric though.
Yeah, but it has to be stronger than that.
Yeah.
It can't be that thin. But when he reassembled the bucket seat, somehow he made the back of the seat facing the door and it didn't match up with the bottom of the seat and it was really uncomfortable to drive and it looked weird. Oh, no. Hopefully it's not the same guy that the body shop is dealing with.
Would you recognize him?
I know exactly where it is. We
Mm.
pass it all the time on
Oh yeah.
that street. We go to Gustavo's place or any of the Gustavo's place or any of those places up there.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing better than a red interior that has not been sitting out in the sun for years and years.
Dan says, almost all automotive material needs to be heavy duty, from fabrics to capacitors."
Well, yeah, if you're getting in and out and in and out of a car, you're putting a lot of wear. If it's a thin fabric, it's going to rip. You know, the pen in your back pocket will just rip the seat up. It was just the insert. It wasn't the full seat. It had the vinyl. It was a vinyl seat with the cloth inserts. But next time I'll get recommendations from somebody. It's a Galaxy. It's not an LTD. No reflector in the middle of the taillights.
Berkula says, there I go telling lies again. I've been to Invercargill 5 times. Dan says vibrations too.
Yeah, there's a lot that people don't think about. The parts that go into building a car. That Mustang Mach 1, the Grabber Blue Mustang Mach 1 that I posted, people are saying that that's the Sprint interior with the white seats and the blue inserts. I don't think I've ever seen a Sprint interior in person, so they could be right. There was no Sprint in Mexico, so maybe somebody just did it or they ordered it that way. I'm not sure. This is a coupe.
Chris is to Barracuda. What does one do in Invercargill other than visiting Granddad's numerous grandchildren?
From what he said before, put a jacket on. If there's glaciers and penguins running down the street, it's a bit cold.
Take pictures of penguins?
No, if they're there all the time, you just laugh at them as they waddle by.
Nah, but you've never seen penguins.
This looks like a fun car to drive, like my 72 Cougar convertible. Big engine. I had a 351 Cleveland with a 3-speed manual.
Dan says, I think a Sprint interior would be white and blue.
The interior in the one that I posted before, not here, had white seats with blue inserts in a Grabber Blue Mach 1. I'm not even sure if they put Grabber Blues on Mach 1s in the US. But I asked, is this the original color? The person said yes. It doesn't say Mach 1 in the ad, so I said, is this a sports roof or is that a Mach 1? She says it's a Mach 1. So, okay, I'll go with what she says. It has to say that on the original invoice. I asked what it said on the original invoice.
Dan says, stick to.
Yeah, this one's probably a 4-speed though. Still fun. Still fun to drive. I think he's answering Chris.
And you have to burn Monroe Racing. You have to burn Monroe Racing. Burt Monroe Racing. Sorry.
That Mach 1 I posted is way in the south of Mexico in the state of Morelos. So it would be shipped out at the port to go to Florida.
We're still working on the shipping to Canada and the east
West.
west coast.
Yeah.
I'm not good at
I think the closest we're going to be able to get is sending them to Long Beach and then having the transport company picking them up and delivering them to the border crossing of their choice, the clients. Hello, Mr. Bread, as Buff says.
Who's that?
Mr. Bread.
Mr. Bread.
That's what he called. What's what we call him.
Okay, Mr. Bread. Hello. Brenda Chung says lots of lakes hunting, fishing, great tracks for trapping. Oh. Brett says, is that a 302 or 351?
In the Mustangs, the 71 through 73, they're all 351 Windsors. No 302s.
Barcola says Mick Jagger had a noteworthy description for Invercargill after performing there. Keith Richards said pretty much the same about Dunedin.
Well, what did he say?
Brett is greeting.
Hello. We all like square bodies, right? Regular cab, short bed square bodies. They're all over Mexico, especially like the round eyes. This is a 73, I think, which is the first year. But it's a Mexican truck, so it's got a different bed on it, and it's coming around right now. It does not have the same bed that the US had. It has the tail lights from the older Chevy trucks. Actually, it's a different tail light because it has a built-in reverse light in it.
Dan says there are a bunch of big city slickers. Hold on. Brett says that's a pretty cool car. Most Mac ones here in the States were Clevelands, although some were 302s. Mexican cars are different.
Yep. All had 351 Windsors. There was no other engine to put in them here.
Mark Soes here.
Hello, Mark. Hope you're doing well.
This afternoon. The light didn't come up until now, so I'm here now.
We're always here at the same time.
Grandad Shank says Mick Jagger said he had found the asshole of the world because they got a bad reception at in Ricardo.
Well, that wasn't nice.
Barracuda says, how does one raise a bird Monroe? Is it like greyhound racing? Brett says, are K5 Blazer popular there?
Actually, there's a lot of them here, and the prices vary from inexpensive comparatively to people wanting your firstborn for one, just like in the U.S. But they're mostly in pretty decent condition. But they're also easy to repair. You throw a paint job on it, you put an interior in it, you're basically done.
Brett says the script looks it's from an OBS. What?
It could be. People put emblems on. This is a U.S. car because you can see the rear window isn't the same. Supposedly it has a 318 V8 in it, and it's a swinger model. So this one came into Mexico at some point.
I was here.
Hello, Tavo.
I haven't seen you in a while.
You're right. We are foreigners.
Also, well, I haven't seen you in a while. I don't know if you've been in other lives. But...
Yes, he has.
Mm,
How you doing today? Or tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Tavo?
Delta Campos says you're an hour later after we changed time.
We actually, for some reason, we set our clocks back. So we're now Pacific time.
And Brett says most K5s here rusted here.
We don't have that problem.
Dean Stevenson is here.
Hello, Dean. Barry, I hope you're saying hi, Tavo. Because if you're talking about tacos, we're all hungry.
Dean Stevenson says I arrived at like 11:45, a little late, but electronic acid had so many friends and my installment of weird music took over as it usually does.
That was a lot of words.
Dean says, where's the foreigner towel? That was a yes. Sunday morning here. Normal people do not get out of bed this early on Sundays.
There's no such thing as normal, Tavo.
No. Mark says, spring ahead, fall back.
That's the way it's supposed to be, Mark. But for some reason, you guys changed the clocks over there, so now we're in Pacific time when we were in Mountain time.
Dean says, you know that the Australians owned New Zealand towel?
Somebody's sending me messages on my computer for questions that I asked about their cars, so it'll be interesting when I get over there.
Fernando says, we just moved our time to yours.
No.
Maybe.
For some reason, when I got up that Sunday morning, I had to manually set my computer and my telephones back 1 hour.
Cell phone.
Same thing. So I don't know what happened, but we're all fine now. Dean Stevenson says, just words. They don't mean nothing.
Brett says, I like that stand. Looks less trash than most Macs of that vintage here. And most here are also not 4-speed.
I looked on classic.com, classics.com, something like that. They post the cars that are sold. And I think there was one manual 1973 Mach 1 that sold. Everything else is automatic. Like, come on. There's very few automatics here. Almost everything is a manual, and the values go way up on the manuals.
Chris says, "Oh, good, onto the beat up."
There's one. It's going by what year it is, not what model it is.
Right. Dean says, "It's a clock up, Cabo." Cabo says to Dean, "Time to redeem that. Please invade and take over the West Island." Body Carfano says, "I hungry go. Good time for a hot dog."
Hot dogs are eaten at night here.
Wait, are you leaving or are you just saying that you're going to get a hot dog? Dean says, "Don't give us ideas, Sal." That was his hi to Chris, very cool and everyone else. Brett says, "Yeah, most Mac ones were FMX or C4s here, which sucks. You got some better stuff down there than here."
People here didn't complain about the automatics. They wanted the manuals. It was just what they did here.
Mechanics is here.
Hey, Mexicanics, thanks for joining us.
Every time you say it, it sounds like Mexicanics.
Meh?
Mexicanics.
Mexicanics, yeah.
But it's not Mexicanics.
It is for me.
Um,
I'm not saying he's Mexican. That's just how I'm reading his name.
They say good afternoon, everyone. Dr. Go is also here.
Hello, Dr. Go.
They say hello, Mr. Spec and Mrs. Spec. Also, hello to your followers. I have been enjoying the cards and comments for a while.
That's nice. There's some pretty good ones in here. It's hard to find ones you guys haven't seen.
Barracuda says taco. He was the pudding on the Ritz guy. I think he means tabo. Brett says Cleveland there.
We don't have Cleveland's here, unfortunately.
Brenda's Young says good day, Dean and Tabo brother.
I think this is a U.S. car, but I'm not sure. It has a green plate, like it's from Vermont or something, but it's hard to tell. Doesn't seem that big to me, mechanics, especially being a two-door.
Is that the correct amount of pictures that you sent me?
596, yes.
Okay.
Probably. I didn't get into the 600s because that goes past 2 hours and we start over again. So
Brett says, "Is that a 400? It's some canted valve engine in there."
if that's a U.S. car, it probably is, because here in Mexico they only had the 351 Windsor in them. They didn't put any other engine smaller or larger in those LTDs here or Galaxies.
Chris says, "Well, the more often we see a car that catches our eye, the greater the chance we might buy it, right?"
Right, but people get bored seeing the same thing and hearing my same comments about it. You can just keep it in the back of your mind. I can always find it again.
Mark says Cleveland's had a bad oiling system.
Is that when you were on the racetrack, Mark, or just driving around town? Because there's a big difference.
That was that LTD is considered a huge car down here.
Yeah, because you don't have the four-door Chevy, Ford trucks, the Rams and all that. It's smaller than a new truck. So it doesn't seem that large to me.
Dr. Go says, "I took driver's education class in a four-door car like that. Fun parallel parking."
I learned the trick on parallel parking so I can parallel park a hearse without having to see what's on the right side of the car. So no problem for me.
Dan says, "Trying to get my damn girl started."
Gasoline, Dan.
Or alcohol if you have it. Brett says, or what is that called? Never mind. Brett says that little black car is the one that needs a 351.
It's already got a 302. It doesn't need much more than that. In Mexico, there were no 4 or 6 cylinders in these Mustang 2s. Every one of them had a V8. So there was no lack of power in these cars. These were not economy cars like they were in the US. They were not seen like that here. They just went on to a different body style in the Mustang with the same drivetrain under the hood. Well, they went down to 302 and 74 from the 351, but they still move out pretty well.
After Campos says that great license plate was from Iowa in the late 70s.
Really? I didn't know they had green license plates. I guess it makes sense since they have a lot of green there. I don't like
You,
green license plates. It doesn't go. The green license plate doesn't go with most colors of the car.
you didn't know something about a license plate?
No, it was
How
Iowa.
dare you?
It's barely a state.
How dare you?
Look who's here.
And wait, uh, Glenn Nickerson.
Glenn Nickerson's here. Yes.
The message went by me. Wait, Glenn Nickerson says just got in from doing yard work, getting a little more snow tonight.
How are you still getting snow when we're in the 90s here?
That was for the day. Falcon and Valiant were called a big car. LTD, Impala, etc. were what affluent doctors and politicians drove.
But you had the room there, so I don't know why they didn't have more bigger cars there. It's not like your Europe that has these little tiny little streets that you can't drive around.
Mark says for racing, the oiling system was bad. Also, my 73 Mustang burned oil like a mofo. I didn't race until later, so I never raced the Mustang.
Mm.
Believe says the one my grandma had only had a four-cylinder in it. Didn't have it long though. Got into an accident.
The Pinto engine was pretty good, but I'd rather have the V8 in the Mustang.
Brett says US got shafted with engines here apparently. The 302 in the Mustang 2 here was detuned horribly.
Detuned, yeah.
Detuned.
Well, I when I posted a Mustang 2, a guy contacted me, and he was on the committee to design the Mustang 2 for Mexico for 1974, and they did put the V8 in it, where they could not put the V8 in it in the U.S. And the difference was the smog equipment on the car, on the front of the engine, didn't fit with the shorter front end in the 74 Mustang 2 in the US, so they only used the 4 and 6 cylinder. In Mexico, there was no smog equipment of any kind, so the engine fit in there. It's tight, but it fits in there. Because Ford here would never sell a Mustang with anything less than a V8. Never, not since 1964 and a half. Every one of them had a V8 engine under the hood.
Brett says everything you are showing looks what we had here in the US when things were good. You still have square bodies there. We had jelly bean three-cylinder crabs. Mechanics says, ooh, that's one.
710.
Fireflies here,
Hi, Vilefly.
and they're clinging to a corn dog.
Ooh, corn dog. I can taste it.
Barracuda says, Tavo, a guy at my high school had an immaculate 64 Impala. I had a bicycle.
This little car is in my town. This Toyota Corona. Been for sale for a while. It looks pretty nice, even though it's an automatic. One of those cars that'll last forever.
Um, Mark says to you, there's about 5 centimeters of snow in the forecast tonight. It's like Mother Nature left slamming the door and then comes back with another thing.
Yeah, 5 centimeters is like that.
Mm-hmm. 2 inches. Joe Showman is here.
Hello, Josh.
Brett says smog equipment was the reason there was no V8. That is the most lame reason ever. They should have been ashamed.
Well, they were chasing gas mileage because of the gas crisis, and the gas crisis never hit Mexico, so they didn't have to detune engines, lower the compression, or anything to get better mileage out of them. So there is a huge advantage to buying the Mexican cars in the 70s. You get pure engine. I mean, Ford didn't even go to electronic ignition until 1987, 1988 in the trucks. So they didn't really care about that kind of stuff.
Tao says still see a few of those coronas down here, minus the 5 miles per hour bumper and side markers.
I kind of like the bumpers. Keep you away from hitting your tail lights.
Dan says to Firefly, burger on the grill here, right now.
Make me one, Dan. Only cheese.
Firefly says, oh, I remember those. Dr. Go says, we just got a record for 40 inches of snow in 24 hours. Instead of taking 20 minutes to clear a 75 feet long driveway, it took me 3 hours. The snowplow made it about 4 feet deep in 15 deep for 15 deep.
Wow.
Used 8 horsepower walk behind the snowblower.
Wow.
The instrument you saw what the New Zealanders did to Qantas. Hands off Australia, please. Brett says the values of Toyota's Coronas went down after 2020.
Well, people are starting to realize that they need a car that'll last forever, and that's one of them. Even with an automatic, you replace if the transmission goes out, you rebuild it, you're good for another 30, 40 years.
You didn't got the joke?
What?
It was after COVID.
Oh, yeah.
Coronas.
Okay. For the name.
Yeah, Fireflies is cool. Boyd, I was thinking about burgers for dinner, but I am out of cheese. Dan says, want us. Mechanic says, my snow is melting. Brett says, Jeep Honcho extinct here.
This one I think is a two-wheel drive though.
Matt Cormick, 426 Hemi is here.
Hello, Matt McCormick.
Oh, Matt McCormick, sorry.
Yeah.
Greetings and salutations to all fellow motorhead. Hope all is well. Hope you're doing great, Mr. Spec.
We're doing well. We're sweating up a storm here in hot weather.
Brett says that Honcho has international taillights. Interesting.
That was common here because there was a company named Dina that made trucks. They made a Chevy that had a Chevy cab, but the taillights on it were from the International. It was a kind of a mix of different kind of things.
Glenicro says to mechanics, welcome back from your tropical vacation. You still have snow, right? Keep an eye on those pennies boys for me, will you? Buffalo says it was 14 degrees Fahrenheit on Monday, 95 degrees Fahrenheit today. How annoying.
How are people handling that? It's hard to get used to that.
Yeah. Steven says, I can get by without cheese if you have mayo and ketchup. Ferguda says, we've got a gas crisis right now.
Well, are they not delivering the gas, or is it the price?
Believe says, speaking of snow, when we lived on a farm in mm, Puslet, Ontario,
Push lynch?
I
Push.
don't know, darling. The driveway to the house was 750 foot long. We had an 8 foot wide snowblower that ran off the
PTO.
PTO of a full size tractor.
Sounds like a lot of work.
Dean says, Barracuda, I don't mean to cuss off the country I love, but when a Kiwi bankrupts a business, sorry, the driveway says Barracuda. Sorry about that. Dean says, Dino, did it go bankrupt? Makes him expected. That was Anset and Dean says,
You're asking me, Dean?
Dean, wait, Brett says it's Conova.
In the U.S., yes, but not here.
Tirando says, anybody else had to eat burgers on bread because buns were too expensive? I had.
Yeah.
Balfa says, in the Midwest, you have a large assortment of clothes. We need bigger deserts for them. Dr. Gold says, to believe, and that is some serious snow removal equipment. Brett says, buns become a luxury. Just wait.
Mm-hmm.
Dean says, Answers, Qantas, DAA, I smell Kiwi's fingers. Barcula says, no gas prices in America, I suppose.
This truck you're looking at right here, where I'm sitting right here, this truck belonged to my neighbor in front of us because we're in like little cul-de-sacs with a street going through it. The truck was sitting behind his house over there. I kept knocking on the door and knocking on the door, but I never was able to get to talk to him about it. Then I see the truck driving down the street here and it took off. So a couple of months later, it shows up for sale 2 hours away from here. And they had done the repainting it needed, fixed the oil leaks, fixed everything it needed. And now it's for sale. It's a very, very nice truck. I was hoping I could get it before it took off out of here, but I'm glad somebody else did the work on it. See, Brad says Nova started out so good, ended up with the Disco Nova like that. Well, it depends what's under the hood. Like some of the models here have the 350 with a 4 speed. So, and it's a hatchback. So you have all the versatility. Tavo to Dean. Bob would have been laughing. It was his dad. Bob had budget rent a car. Firefly. Only a gas crisis in California, which will be normal. Yep. Until somebody else gets in there and fixes it, because Newsom doesn't want to fix it. Buff to Barracuda. Fuel cost here went up about $1.50 a gallon. Wow, that's quit. That's hard to take. Red short box square body here is rare and expensive. Well, that's what most of this I think is a U.S. truck. I hope that's a 350. Otherwise, it would be a problem to get it to pass. I don't like the one belt in the front of the engine. Matt McCormick. Can't wait for the warm weather. It was literally in the 20s Fahrenheit recently in Northeast Pennsylvania. Beings. I don't have any room in garage to work on my 78 Grand Prix. Need the warmth. I'll send you some, Matt. Pretty warm here. Steve Andrews, Queensland and Northern Territory Air Service. Firefly. I could fix California, but they won't let me near the San Andreas Fault. Pavo. Apparently, we're sitting on a lot of oil in my state that the green left won't let us touch. Maybe we should mention it to Trump. He can invade us instead. We'll just get them out of power. Vote them out. Get everybody together, vote them out, and do what you need to do. Firefly. We all have our faults. Mine is California. I lived in California, half my life, and waited for the big one. They always talked about that. The big one's coming.
Earthquake?
Yeah, Nevada's going to be beachfront territory, beachfront property. Never happened.
Yeah.
I have felt more little earthquakes here in Mexico. Like when Mrs. Spec and I were in the hotel in Veracruz when we sent off the Ram Charger. She said, "Did you feel that?" No. The bed shaking? No. Wait, there it goes again. Okay, I felt something move a little bit. I mean, if the front of the building is not falling down, I'm not feeling it. I lived in California. The 71 earthquake, the 87 earthquake, for the 94 earthquake, I was up in Oregon, but the next day after the earthquake, I was in Los Angeles. So
Where did you left off?
Tavo says they never get voted out now. Too many enjoying welfare. Well, give them a reason to vote them out.
Brad says, looks like next time I go car shopping, I need to talk to you. Everything you're showing is way better than the clapped out expensive rust buckets here.
Oh yeah, the cars here you're so way ahead of the game because you don't have to spend $10,000 on repairing the rust. I mean, so far ahead of the game.
Sorry.
Dean, vote them out. What a primitive solution. There's other solutions, Dean, but you guys don't have a lot of guns.
Revelation! Firefly says, yes, we all have an affinity for beachfront property.
I don't. Not really. I wouldn't want to live at the beach. I mean, we're close enough here where we have to drive like 40 minutes or so, but the salt in the air is rusting all my cars.
Mechanic says gas is more expensive as well as many other things in Mexico.
Well, the new president declared that the 1 liter of regular gasoline is going to be 23.99, 23 pesos 99 cents. I just saw the Chevron station here on the corner raised it to 24.11 or something, 24.18 or whatever, against what she said. But it's been there for a while. If you want premium, it's like 4 or 5 pesos more per liter. So, but it's not going up and down like you guys are doing because of what's happening in the world or the price of whatever. It's basically staying the same, but it is expensive. We're over $5 and something a gallon, U.S. It depends on the exchange rate, actually.
Barracuda says, I'm scared to look at the price today. Every time I look, it's more about 3.30 per liter yesterday.
Wow, that's crazy.
Matt McCormick says, thanks, buddy. I'll send you the code. Maybe then it'll equal out to be like 60 degrees Fahrenheit for the both of us.
Like Mrs. Spec always says, we have summer and summer in a sweater.
Yep.
Those are the two seasons we have here.
Buffett up with this upside down steering wheel.
Or the wheel was turned. Could
Believes
be.
believes says Springs experienced a minor earthquake in 2000 in Japan. Things were falling off the shelves.
Yeah, because they're not prepared for those kind of things.
It should be at this point. Wildfire says the trains around here make the house oscillate a little.
Yeah, it could feel like an earthquake because they are moving the earth when they go by. They weigh just a little bit.
Savo says even our conservative party are very left. The left are far left, and the Greens are extreme left.
Ugh.
Brett says not only are they in better shape, they are better models too. Why am I here? No.
Well, you're in California, aren't you? So we're going to have to wait until the federal government takes over CARB because CARB is going to be gone. Supposedly, after the next election, CARB's going to be gone, and we're going to see if that's going to allow foreign cars into the state. Unless you have a friend that lives in Arizona that can register it there, that would work.
Brett says it's 4 liters of gas, 1 gallon.
3.7 something liters is 1 gallon.
So 4 times 23 cents is still cheaper.
No, it's 23 pesos, 23.99 pesos. So figure it 24 times 3.7 something, and then do the exchange rate with the dollar, and you'll see we're well into the fives now,
Chris says 3.8 liters to the US gallon.
somewhere around there.
Mechanic says we will be pushing $2 plus a liter in Canada, and that is before the crisis.
Jesus.
Barracuda says our fuel is oil that has to get through the Strait of Hormuz, then gets refined in Singapore or South Korea, and then shipped to the U.S. To us, sorry, to us.
Wow.
Wildfire says if you don't like the weather in my area, just wait an hour.
They say that about Florida.
Dean says 231 cubic inches per liter is constitutional. Tavo says, so what do we have left? Dr. God says, we have 2 seasons, winter and road construction.
That happens here too. When it rains, it takes the road with them.
Fred says, they need to scrap CARB, just dump it.
Well, everybody needs to vote for the Riverside sheriff that's running for governor. And what it looks like, if the things stay the way they are, there's going to be only 2 Republicans on the ballot to vote from, to choose from. And if he gets elected, he said publicly the first thing he's going to do is get rid of CARB.
Tavo says, you get the same fuel as us, Barracuda. Joshua says, 1 gallon is roughly 2.78 liters. Barracuda says, yes, Tavo. Birthplace is Florida.
Mm-hmm. So you are in Florida.
Brett says, funny thing, they used to drill and refine in California.
Yeah, they used to. I remember that.
Birthplace is Florida, the land of predictable disasters.
Yeah, you have warning there, not like California with the earthquakes. Oh, earthquake thing. When I was working at the Chevy dealer, I got to be friends with the girl that answered the phones, the switchboard. So she told me that she has this fear of dying in an earthquake. And I kept that in mind. And we went to her house one day, and in her bedroom, she had this huge bookcase as the head of the bed, and it was not bolted to the wall. It was just there. Like, well, your fear of earthquakes is well founded because if anything happens, that thing's going to kill you in bed. So why don't you bolt it to the wall so you don't have to have that fear anymore? I mean, it was under her control.
Bangladesh is Florida, the land of predictable disasters. I hate
Mm-hmm.
my keyboard. Brett says, our oil doesn't even need to be in a tanker. Jay says, feeling good about owning a Mitsubishi Mirage.
They're not bad cars, they get made fun of and stuff, but when you need it, you need it.
Chris says to Jay, same here with our Fiats. I stop for gas maybe every 3.5 weeks.
That's good. I haven't moved my Durango in 2 weeks.
Dean says 3.8 liters leaves a lot on the table. That's only 99.6 and a bunch of numbers of your gross margin. Barracuda says, Tavo, now you have a wonderful Jacinda Arden living there. Tavo says, we used to drill and refine in 5 states of Australia too. Glenn says, my favorite stories involve Florida man. Fred says, heck, here in the state, they had a town named Oildale. I wonder if the Greens will get rid of that name too.
No, because there's other types of oil. I'm sure the greenies use all kinds of types of oils.
Firefly says, bookcase at the head of the bed? What a horrible idea. No banging.
Mm-hmm.
Fred says, goodness, an embodied stick coupe. That's not a Valiant. It's a Grand Fury, or at least here.
No, this is an M body with a Plymouth Volare front end on it because it's exactly the same body lines. Because they kept the rear wheel drive going till 82, and then in 83 they introduced the Dart K here, which was the front wheel drive models. They didn't have any more rear wheel drives here anymore.
Pablo Campos says, build a roll cage for her bed.
This was in the 80s, Buff. I'm sure she got married and hopefully she didn't recreate it with her husband. But I mean, if you have a fear of something, I mean, you're guaranteed it's going to happen to you in a situation like that. You don't sleep under something that dangerous.
Since it's singing If I Get Elected, or Someone Stop the Cavalry. I don't know what that song is. Dean says, quote from Jonah Louis. Barracuda says, Tavo, do they still get oil from Bass Strait? Brenda says, here's the big buzz. I handed out my first autograph yesterday. My oldest granddaughter's best friend asked me for one. Oh, cool. Ian says, my Mrs. Ecstasy has told me if she wanted me gone in bed, she would have done it years ago. Okay. Brett says they kept the M body here till the late 80s, specifically for the CPS. That being said, the Fifth Avenue sort of rode the Grand Fury cocktails with more trim, of course.
Yeah, the 89 was the last year for the M body. The Fifth Avenue was a pretty nice car.
Chris says to Grandas, you're on your way to world domination.
Well, the reason they called everything the Dart here because the F body was a Dart. The A bodies were Darts. The K cars were Darts. The dealership was only allowed to have 4 models on the lot to sell at any one time. So they called everything a Dart. It was a Dart K, it was a Dart this, it was a Dart that. So they could sell all these different models, but they had the same name. So it was just like to get around the rule of only having four models on the lot at one time.
Brenda says to Chris, only on my lunch break. Unfinished project this year?
Unfinished project, Art Sport. Hello. Thanks for joining us.
And they say two-door citation.
Yeah, that's an X11. Got the bulge in the hood for the high output 2.8. That's under there.
Firefly says, I better check on the chickens. They are low on food. Needs to refill. Be right back. Get a picture. Dean says, Canada's junk. It's the curse of fame. Enjoy. Fred says, what does Polari mean in Spanish? Maybe that is why the F body was started instead.
The Volare is an Italian name, I think, but in Mexico they used it to identify the lowest, basest stripped model. The Valiant Volare, which we sold one to a client, 1981 model, was the base model, and then it went up to the Dart. So yeah, those were 2 of the models they had on the lot.
And to answer your question, volare, if you were to use that word in Spanish, it would mean I will fly. It would be missing an accent.
Volare.
Volaré. It means I will fly. Um, Not sure why I didn't use it, but yeah.
Because it's not that's not what it means. It's the Italian word that they used on the U.S. cars. They just put it
What
on
does the
here.
Italian mean?
I don't know. I'm not Italian. That's your department. You were learning it.
Oh. Jay knows. She knows Italian. Matt says, I am blessed to live in one of the three
Counties.
counties in Pennsylvania that you do not need to pass emissions annually. Being that the population is so low in these counties, we are completely exempt.
That's great. One less thing to worry about.
Raguda says, I imagine you have to fight off the paparazzi these days, Brandon. Jay says, there was an U.S. fighter whose nickname was Londard, I thought.
I never heard that.
Dean says, I'm finished project spitting the trolls.
Bacon, kiwi, and a juice box.
Mm-hmm.
Well, none of that goes together unfinished.
Dean says, thanks, I'm French, I appreciate it. Brenda says, I might have to get some t-shirts made with the 30 Plymouth on it. Brett says their name versus body platforms were all different there apparently.
Yeah, everything. The companies here purposely made the cars different so they didn't look like the U.S. cars. The 80, 83, 84 Mustangs will tell you that, which looked like a Capri coupe, but the bubble back had the Ford front end, the Ford Mustang front end instead of the Capri. They did that on purpose so the Mexican cars did not look like the U.S. cars.
Jay says Epstein was the Londard. French Project says I pronounced it Bolari just to show my intelligence to Dean. Dean says 23-inch flathead love Branda's junk. Chris says Branda's junk. No, a shirt with the balls on it would rock. Fred says Dodge Aspen was upscale and funny. Same car. Didn't batching.
No, the Aspen you could get the base model too, or you could get the SE model that had all the power options and everything. Aspen was the model, Dodge was the make, and the Plymouth was the make, and Volare was the model. But you could get in the U.S. You could get strip models, or you could get the fully loaded cars. Here they identified the strip model by Valiant Volare because they didn't use the Plymouth name here. Valiant was the make actually, and Volare was the name of the car. And then they went to the Dodge Dart, which had a few more options, but not many. It's not like it was a fully loaded power windows, air conditioning. It was none of that. None of them had that. They all had slant sixes under the hood.
Dean says it's a self-evident truth. Everyone can see how smart you are unfinished. Parker says, wasn't it a song by Mean Darton?
Dean Martin.
And Dean says it would primate drug use if it was Polaris.
I don't know.
Brenda says, okay, subscribers known best to consider it done. Been thinking about for a few months. Dean says,
I'll promote. It would promote drug use. It was Volare. On some of these cars, you're going to see coming up on my for sale things, like this little truck here that they're not asking a whole lot of money for it. So it's gonna get in there somewhere. Oh, it's got the Mexican bed on it. Got the flat rear bed on it with the flat tail lights. Still a nice truck though. Hmm. What? Oh, don't be talking about that here. Smoke tail lights? No, that has to go. I don't like that. I need people to see my brake lights. You guys pay a lot for upholstery over there. The front seat in this truck was probably 1,500 pesos, so maybe $80 for this front seat to be redone.
Brett says, it's apparent to me the EPA and regulations here destroyed our cars. That's my conclusion to seeing this stuff.
They it's very interesting when you go country to country what cars were produced from the rules that they had. For example, the AMC brand in Mexico was making a car called the Lerma. Not a very pretty name, but it was named after the city that it was built in the Estado de Mexico. Now, it was built until 1982 because in 1982 the government outlawed luxury items that were had to be purchased outside the US because they were bringing in power window switches, they were bringing in all kinds of stuff to put in the car. So they couldn't make the car luxurious anymore, so they just stopped making the car. Of course, 83 was the last year they made the those cars here anyway, but there wasn't allowed to be luxury items in any other cars either, just from the government that came in at that time. So those are the cars you get from the rules that the government put on it, the same as the US putting their rules. You need more miles per gallon. You need 85-mile-an-hour speedometers, which was ridiculous. And, all of that stuff, that's the cars you got.
Um, Dean says, Stop the Cavalry is an anti war song and a Christmas song written and performed by the English musician John Allewy. No idea can't was copied, it was from Wikipedia. Argota says, Aspen, California, beautiful. Like Christmas.
How about Aspen, Colorado?
Tabo says $80 here would buy the material to recover a seat.
Well, this that covers labor and everything, and probably the guy putting it back in for you.
Papa says I need to learn to upholster, but I don't think I will like sewing.
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 Well, the machine does the sewing. You don't have to really do it.
You do. Paco Alpha is here.
Hello, Paco.
Paco.
Hola, Paco.
This says, hola, aquí paso a saludar. Ando ocupado, pero sí estoy viendo el directo.
Gracias.
Uh, and it says, I'm very impressed how many cool cars are for sale over there, Maxie. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, there is a lot of nice cars. If you had, let's say you had 100,000 pesos, which is a little over $5,000, you could get some really nice cars, or one really nice car, or a truck, or whatever. I mean, yeah. I forgot to turn that. Sorry, guys. I forgot to turn that picture around. It's a four-cylinder. You don't have to look at it that closely.
Brett says that nose is long, no doubt, for the five-cylinder thing they had. Am I right?
On the Volkswagen, no, that was a four-cylinder in there. A five-cylinder was used in the U.S., but a four-cylinder, because when the cars were made in the factory here, all had the same engine. The Golfs, the Jetta, the Quantum, which was Corsair here, they all used the same engine. There was no mix and matching. Everything got the same.
In seventh, Lloyd Christmas drives cross country to Aspen, Colorado to return a briefcase to Mary Swanson. This was stolen from AI. The one time the information was correct. And Brett says that looks like a Rabbit 1.7 liter.
It's Yeah, it's the engine that was used in the Rabbits. But this truck on the screen here, very, very, very rare model. 1986. Made this way. I asked about this. They made it this way. They ordered it this way, the original owners. 360 V8 under the hood. It's got a manual transmission in it. The guy said the original owners used it for clothing of some kind. They would deliver clothing or sell clothing out of it or whatever. And he bought it and painted it, and it looks like it's 3/4 ton as well, which is weird in Mexico because it's got the bigger hubs, I think. But I've never seen one like this before. Here's a picture of it driving down the road. It's a very nice truck.
Grandad says that's so cheap. Tabo says 5,000 AU would buy a rusty Valiant with parts missing, right, for a 30,000 restoration.
Hmm.
Glenn Nicholson says, I have found that every upholstery guy I've ever dealt with has a waiting list for over a year. I think the first thing they learn in upholstery school is how to put people off.
Or he has that many customers. You never know.
Dracula says yes, but Lloyd thought her name was Mary Samsonite. Brenda says that right, Tabo. Name here, same here. Tabo says, and that's because Valiants are very cheap compared to Holdens and Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
Dean says she was a hard case, Dracula. Steven Andrews says just in time. That what taillights?
That's a good question, Stephen. Um, I'm trying to think where they come from. Don't they come from the swept side trucks? The swept side trucks, I think. No, it'd be a 4 speed bread in this truck. 4 speed.
Mira, no me
Come,
dejas
come
hacer
on, just
nada.
go.
Brenda says buying those two balls for 22K with one on the road was very cheap. Brenda says how much?
I'd have to calculate it, Stephen, but it's way more than that wagon. Way, way more. It's got a cage between the front and the back. I don't think they needed that for the clothing unless they stacked the clothing that high in it. I'm not sure.
McCormick says from watching your videos, I am going to buy a Mexican spec car. Cars from Mexico are brought free, have beautiful interiors, well taken care of, and have better options, no emissions equipment.
Matt, I'm working with a guy that also lives in Pennsylvania, and I'm going to be selling him a Ram Charger, a 4 speed manual Ram Charger, assuming it doesn't get sold tomorrow. And he checked out with um, the whole thing, how to register it and everything. It's a very easy process. And I just sold one, and that guy's in Ohio getting his license plates for that one. So whatever, just send me an email on what you're looking for, and I'll send you a list of what's available. Oh no, this is a half ton. It just has wheel caps on it. But other than the one scrape in the paint in this is a very nice truck inside and out. And they didn't make, especially in '86, they didn't make very many Dodges because the Fords had the V8. These generally had the 6 cylinder. Somebody special ordered this with the 360 under the hood, and they did a really good job on it. And somebody's kept it really nice, but he wants a lot of money for it.
Flanagan says, no, most of them don't want to work. When I have work to do, they don't wait a year because I'm a nice guy.
When we had the Ram Charger at the body shop, the body guy took the driver's seat out, sent it to the upholstery guy, and 2 days later, it was back in the truck looking brand new. So, if they want money, they'll do the work.
That was it. The granddad's 12K would buy a running CL here, but that would have rust around front and rear windows, lower quarters, etc. Dean says, I will have started up a Honda division in South America and call it the Lima Accord. Lima Accord?
This is another vehicle. It's a 4-wheel drive D250, which means it has a V8 in it. I've seen the factura for it, the original invoice, and it was sold new in Mazatlan with 4-wheel drive, which is very rare in Mexico, but it's been for sale for a long time. It's a nice truck. Nice 4-wheel drive truck. I got asked by a guy yesterday that he wants a truck like this, but an extra cab or a 4 door. That would not be an original Mexican truck, so it would be hard to find. It's going to be hard to find one of those.
So, Pass Braden is here.
Hello, Braden. Thanks for joining us.
Dean says, that email address, how would I know it's really you, Mexican Spec?
Because it's real. It's the real Mexican Spec.
Matt says, if that is a 3/4 ton, it would have a new process, 435 NP 435. Fun fact about that transmission is that Dodge, Chevy slash GMC, Ford International pickups, and Jeep J Series pickups.
They all used it, but no, it's a half ton because we didn't have 3/4 tons in Mexico. They didn't sell them. They sold cabin chassis, but I think those were 1 tons. But you weren't able to get one of those with a bed on it. You had to put your own bed back there. They were dualies, but they didn't have any dually beds in Mexico.
Fernandez is calling a truce to the stumps. They're winning.
Well, go from fire to explosives.
No. Barracuda says, I just saw your joke, Dean. Top marks for that.
Tavo, what did they call this car down under?
Faith Fernandez says, How's Mexico?
Hello, Faith. It's hot right now where we are.
Yes,
Yes, she was here before. It's very hot where we are. It's nice though.
It's not very hot. It's warm.
It's supposed to be in the 90s today.
In comparison to what it could be, it's okay. Dean says, what a beast. Double Spring says, I had a very bad cold that was pinching off my throat, so I have a butyl inhaler and prednisone, and they gave me, it seems to be helping. This has been going on since the last Sunday.
How could a cold contract your throat though? Was there an allergic reaction in there somewhere to some medication you were taking?
Brenda says, my wife would love VE, but they are just too expensive.
We don't know what they're talking about. They're all different cars, but they all have these letters.
Deborah says, I was talking to my brothers about now I'm back.
You missed a lot of good cars, Faith.
I don't think we got that model here. It looks similar to the Nissan Gazelle we got. Brian says, oh no, I had bronchitis from it because I couldn't stop coughing. Mark says, we just had a brief power outage.
They can't keep the power on?
Mark says, that's like the truck Gary Busey had in Eye of the Tiger. That was a Gazelle.
This in the US was called Datsun 200SX. We're not going to go into that again. But here they called it Sakura. And this is a 1986 model, but it still says Datsun on the back. When in the US they switched over to Nissan in 1984. Well, it was Datsun Nissan in 83, and then it went full Nissan in 84 in the US, but it still has a Datsun emblem on the back in 1986.
Faith says, I have 6 brothers.
That's a lot of brothers.
Steven says, I want to use old tires and have enough old plastic roofing to make a 200 by 70-foot greenhouse, but they burn really black smoke, and Washington is an eco-crazy state.
Yeah, you should not be burning tires. You can cut them up, but you don't burn them.
Mark says, probably someone hit a post or something.
Well, at least it came back.
Mark says, I had a 240SX.
Yeah, that was a much later one.
Matt says, okay, good to know. I most definitely will reach out to you when I sell my street/strip Grand Prix. I'll sell it very quickly. It only has 38 and a half original miles. And I'm the second order, 38,500.
Yeah. Nice.
That says, we dropped that soon in 82.
That's interesting. So you were ahead of the US.
Dean says, my English teacher, My English teacher, Mr. Wallace, said it would have been great if my bizarre reference to esoterica was matched by my ability to spell and read the audience. Key components of good English.
And I'll bet he was right, Dean. You got to have the full package.
Yeah, well.
See, here's a car you guys didn't have over there either. Ford Thunderbird with a V6 and a 5-speed manual. Or a maple tree. That's a maple leaf, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to know?
Braden says, tell anyone about your mom and her man.
Do we want to know that, Braden? That sounds personal.
Oh, that is. That says, we had no crossover period. One day they were all Datsuns, next day all Nissan.
Well, they may have thought people were slower in the U.S., so they used 1983 as a transition. I remember the 83 Stanza had Datsun slash Nissan on the back hatch. So it had both.
Says, Dean, maybe wrong. Then says, all that copy is missing is a disco ball hanging from the ceiling.
That's absolutely possible to put in there, Glenn.
Braden says, no, you kind of do. It's kind of funny what happened.
Oh, look at this. You guys got to see this thing on the screen. 1989 Winnebago with a four-cylinder Renault engine, 2.2 liter with an automatic. How fast do you think this thing is?
Dean says, Faith, welcome back to the land of the living. Braden has been very polite. And Chris says, I think they went through 1 year transition from Datsun Nissan here, 83 to 84, 84.
That's what I'm saying, Chris. I'm talking about the U.S. 84, it was all Nissan.
Mark says, sorry, it was a 200SX that I had.
Oh, okay. So they had a couple different designs of that.
Fernando says, a shame Ford didn't give us this, but too many people want automatics. Braden says, I want a Sprinter van. Yeah, or I want an old Winnebago.
You don't want this one.
Says 2.2 liter Winnebago.
The Winnebago. This instrument is right out of the Renault Alliance. I know I had one.
Mechanics is my new Mexican home.
Did you see? You saw Mechanics. You saw what happened in Puerto Vallarta, didn't you? All when everything exploded and they started burning stuff. Yeah, that was not a good time.
Mark says, can I climb a hill?
I doubt it. No, there's no turbo, no nothing. It's just four-cylinder with an automatic.
Matt says, I saw that you got a G-Body 78 Malibu for sale a while ago. I'm looking for a 78 Malibu, but have a lot of cars that me and my son were interested in wanting to purchase. So we are not picky.
Well, the Malibus here generally would have the inline six, but some of them did have the 4-speed on the floor. So if you dropped a V8 in there after you get the car, you would have a hot car, something that most people didn't have there for those Malibus.
Fernando says, oh, no fast here. Tavo says, about as fast as many motorhomes down here, built from 2.2 little diesel vans.
Yeah, but the diesel engine will just keep going and going and going. This will not.
Grandes Young says, resembles something from Logan's Run.
I don't remember them having vehicles.
Mechanics is fast downhill.
You have to get up the hill first, though. that's like a roller coaster. I hated that part of the roller coasters.
Glenn Nickerson says the aerodynamics probably add 5 miles per hour to its top speed driving over a cliff.
Probably, yeah.
Mark says to Braden, just find out how much a drive shaft is for a Sprinter. You'll change your mind. Butterfly says the speedometer needle melted. Lol. Faces, I'm singing Monster by Rihanna.
I'm assuming that's a song.
Yes. Fernando says, I like the looks, but only good for flat land camping.
Or just parking it once and never moving it again.
Dean says it just needed a turbo 240 2458 cc Renault Alpine PRV V6. Regular says Kenny Logins.
Logins.
That was his Renault Traffic, Fiat Ducato, Ford Transit, 2.2 automatic, the preferred base vehicle for conversions.
Ugh, how crazy.
Dean says, Faith, I can sing with an umbrella handle in my mouth. Dean says,
That's a weird admission, Dean.
and believe me, Faith, it sounds like it. Papa says, no one camps in Kansas. Too flat.
So you just drive and stop and call it camping? Don't really need to go anywhere. I like this. Got the access, got the taillights back there. This one looks good.
Brenda says, that's really cool. Never seen one.
Very interesting the way they even finished the whole interior of it. That's nice.
Brenda says, having flashbacks to my original engine, automatic 74 Vegas, trying to drive mm,
Mount
Mount
Rainier.
Rainier Shutter. Dean says, the houses and barns even slip off the face of that state Firefly.
Kind of hard to work on it though. You got to get down in the engine because you can't really get to it from the back.
Firefly says they get blown down. Barracuda says everything's up to date in Kansas City. Firefly says including the heat. Dean says Kenny. Kenny.
Logins.
Oh.
You speak very well in emoji, Dean. Not everybody's going to pick it up though. You could take something like this Volkswagen that if the interior was done in like white or black, it wouldn't look good. But with this color interior in it, it really jumps out at you. It really sparks it up. Wheels look weird in the wheel wells though, front and back.
Miranda says, what engine in Volkswagen brand thingy?
It is a 1600 Type 1 engine, 1600 cc. All of them were 1600 cc's from the early 70s on, early to mid 70s.
That says most of those Euro-based motorhomes are bought to do trips right around Australia. Long stretches of desolate highways, nothing but salt bush.
Hmm.
And Dan says Volkswagen.
Volkswagen. Volkswagen. That'd be kind of blurry.
Barbara says sifts through Dean's emoji list. Dean says B for Steven Andrews. Matt says, wow, I didn't know that a straight six was fit in a G body due to the length of it. I love that the three pedal flavor of Malibus are prevalent in Mexico.
Yeah, a lot of them are manuals, but the inline six was the only six that they had in Mexico, so they fit it in there. I never saw one in a G body until I got here. I never saw one in an OBS truck until I got here either. The eight, well, here in Mexico, the 92 to the 98 Chevy trucks, the bottom of the line trucks have an inline six, the 292 inline six. Never seen one before in a truck like that. I was working at the Chevy dealer in 88, March of 87, sorry, when they came on the lot new. Never saw an inline six. They were all V6s or V8s. It shocked me when I went to a mechanic one time and I asked him, who put that engine in there? And he says, oh, that's the way it came. That's the way it came in that truck? He says, yeah. So I learned something that way.
Fernando says, okay, couldn't recognize it under there. Fireplace says, oh, found it. I knew it was there. Dean says, probably just as well, Mr. Inspector. Driveway says, that Volkswagen has an access hatch for the engine, so it's almost certainly a Type 3 engine.
The Type 1. There's only one engine in Mexico.
Braden says, I love the 56 Nissans.
Did you look at the engine in the picture, Chris? It's still the stand-up Type 1 engine. It's a little more difficult to get to in that one, but it's the same engine. You just drop it out of the bottom if you want to do anything. You don't really get to it from the top anyway.
Glenn says, Firefly, if a certain YouTuber from Tennessee fell asleep in his underwear outside in Kansas, you could say it's Buff Del Campo. Dan says, McCormick, somewhere V6 with a manual too, 3.8 Buick.
Very few of them, though. People generally didn't order the manuals up there.
Joanna says, was this van body available as a kit? Never seen one.
I don't. I think they sold the whole thing that just put on the back of the Volkswagens. You bolt it on, you hook up the tail lights, and it turns it into a delivery truck. I don't know if they did anything with the rear end suspension or anything because it was hanging just a little bit low in the back. But yeah, I like that one in particular. I've seen others, but I like that one in particular. But how high the doors go up, you have all that access, and the tail lights back there, so you can see them really well, and the license and everything. It looks like a really well done piece.
Then Evoy says, Bob del Camper von Beethoven. And Bob the Campo is questioning Dan's sanity. Dan says, you always win, Bowfly. Mark and I are far friends. She doesn't surrender early. I do. Dan says to Dean, I didn't tell you to stop giving yourself away.
Didn't I tell you to stop giving yourself away?
Steven says, just like a Corvair engine, out the bottom only way.
Well, that's how you do it in all the Beetles. You jack up the car, put it on the rack, drop the engine down, and do whatever you need to do.
Plus, it reminds me of a party I was at where everyone was drinking Canadian mist and got hammered. I was left standing and everyone was bigger than me. Guess I'm immune to it. All the other times I lost. Vintage Traps is here.
Hello, Tanner.
He said, hey, just decided to hop in and say hi. I need to get out and make something of my date soon.
It's almost the end of the day, Tanner.
Firefly says, the one and only drinking victory I had.
I've never had one Biofly.
Dan says, well, the Campo Bomba 7 is an alternative band from the 1980s. And Dean says to Danny Boyd, I appreciate the reference, but the Campo is still working out the Beatles reference. Steven Andrews says, hi, bad Scamp made it okay.
It did, Steve. He has it at his house. He parked it next to the other scamp and they're talking. They're making peace.
Dan says to Dean, where do the Beatles fit in? Brenda says, what didn't they sing coming to take me away? Dan, didn't they sing come to you? Fergus says Beethoven.
It's Beethoven, actually. The H is silent.
Yeah.
Like roll over Beethoven.
Okay, I'm done.
Dean says, I'm a cheap date, Dan, and you give yourself away. You give yourself away. And there's music things there, music notes. Tanner says to Steve, it sure did. I had almost no issue. It ran super well, even through the mountains. I've been doing a lot of little maintenance items on it in the past couple days. Is that going to be your daily driver now? You're going to register it in Oklahoma? Hope you got the right paperwork. Right, Chris? Dean, roll over Beethoven. That's what I said. And it says, oh wow, the 292s are awesome engines. They have almost 300 foot-pound of torque, although no horsepower. I thought Mexico got the 4.3-liter V6s in the OBS. I'm learning so much from you. Nope, they sure did not put the 4.3s in here. Maybe later, maybe the 1999 model, but in the OBS trucks, all inline sixes in the base model in the 1500s. If it's in Mexico, if it says 1500 on the side of the truck, it's a 6-cylinder. If it says 2500 on the side of the truck, it's a V8. That doesn't indicate half ton or 3/4 ton in Mexico. So it's a bit confusing. Dan says something about a horse gal. Whose gal? Give it away, give it away, give it away now. Firefly removes the transistor from Dean's radio and scurries off. Yeah, turn that thing off, Firefly. Driveway. Granddad's junk. That was Napoleon the 4th. 10, 14, yeah, the 14th. Sorry. Got to get that X in there. Napoleon the 14th. Does anybody drive these spirits anymore? Or are there any still on the road over there?
Vintage says, I have the 73 Scamp on the front yard and the 74 Scamp in the back. I already have the 73 registered in my name and it's being daily driven, registered on Thursday.
Nice. So it's easy to register things there in Oklahoma?
Brandon says, that's it, Chris. Liv says, I had an 87 Turbo Shadow 5-speed. Went through a turbo, which plugged the cat, leading to a head gasket going. Last day of warranty, and later needed a new turbo. Got that done privately.
They weren't well made cars. I went to the Dodge dealer one time and I looked at the Shadow convertible. I sat down in the car. I said, "Where's the button to put the top down?" He says, "There's no button. This is manual." No thanks.
Dean says, 1963, very good. You missed it by a year. Dean's playing with the guitar. Firefly says, I don't think I don't know. Vintage says, Dan, I believe it's PG's on the Husco,
Piggies.
Piggies on the Husco, or something like that. Joshua says, it's been a long time since I saw one. Jose Campos says, I haven't seen one in a long time. Chris says, Spirit RT was a spicy little ride.
You would think so. I mean, this one even has the leather interior, but I wouldn't buy one. I wouldn't even offer one for sale unless it was a manual, and those are hard to find.
Bravo says, I don't think I have seen any spirits around for years. Dan says, the vintage, I think I learned Housego,
Husgal.
Husgo from reading Snuffy Smith. Margarita says, in 1963, I was in my mother's stomach. Believing yourself says, they were crude, true. I had much fun in that car though.
Mm-hmm.
Alpha says, the keyboard is aggravating me. I know, baby. Dean says, did your mama eat babies? No. Dan says, my mom shut me out 60 years ago today. Happy birthday.
It's your birthday today, Dan?
And Driveway says, Shadow slash Sundance was the cheapest new car in the US at one point. They were good little cars.
As long as you didn't keep them very long after you bought them new.
Vintage says, I just walked into the tag agency with the title and proof of insurance. They asked a few questions, checked the VIN and odometer, and handed me the new plate for less than $100.
They checked the odometer on a 50-year-old car? Really? It's exempt after 10 years. Why would they even look at it? Just to see if it had one?
I think it's Dan's birthday.
So it is your birthday, Dan. Way to bury the lead. Happy birthday, Dan.
This is kind of right, and that's because you're not a dodgy mofo, and well done. Samantha says, I got out halfway through 1963 right.
Tanner, what kind of license plate did you get? I know there's different choices you could get in Oklahoma. Did you get a special one or just a basic license plate? You should have gotten one that matched the color of the car. I mean, that offset the color of the car. You got a red car, so get one of the license plates that looks good on there.
Rafa says, I was going to clean out the garage until I found out it was going to be 95 degrees today.
Dan can't believe he made it that far. I've got one more year to go to catch up to you, Dan.
Chris says, what if several of the cars in my slideshows have a dollar sign on one of the windows?
That's to show you it's for sale. That's how people tell you their car is for sale.
Regular says, it's time for the Kennedy assassination.
In time for the Kennedy assassination, which was before November.
He says, can't stop the spirits when they move you. Vintage says, the guy who did my title transfer is new to the tag agency. I just got the basic license plate. It is a red plate.
Oh, so it matches the car. Nice. Without even trying.
Mopper Kadon plays here.
Hello, Kay. Thanks for joining us. We're just about done here. Pretty close.
Dan says, did you graduate early, music instructor?
No, I graduated later, actually, because I was put ahead one year. I moved from kindergarten to first grade, so everybody in my class was always a little bit older than me. I wasn't allowed to take driver's training in my school because I wasn't old enough, so I had to take it privately, and then got my driver's license the next day after DMV was open after my birthday. Wasn't gonna waste one day. Had to have my driver's license.
Um,
We still have 20 pictures to go, damn. Then it resets.
Papa says I could have worded it badly after birthday, but that would be obscene.
But you did it anyway.
Mechanics is probably are nice.
Yeah, I don't see how he got these four headlights to be on at the same time. That's not how the car is wired. Unless there's fog lights. They're yellow. Weird. Because then this next pic, it's correct. Maybe it has fog lights down there. Weird. The car that I had this kind of front end. It had those were the high beams, and when you switch to the low beams, it went out to the outer two. Not the four would never be on at the same time. So I wonder what's going on with this car.
That was his driver's license. I should think about getting one of those.
We have to renew Mrs. Specs.
Mm-hmm.
It expired, but she doesn't really drive, so
Vintage says, I'm hoping off. I need to move around because I'm super tired. I was out really late last night. I finally found a bed around 3:30 a.m.
okay. Take care, Tanner.
Bye,
We'll
Tanner.
see you soon.
Sorry. Firefly says the C24 Cavalier is one of my dad had. Regular says, are you Dick's Lexus? What? Uppercase says, oh hi, and bye, Tanner. Lexus. Matt says, I wish I was able to make it when you first started the live.
We're on at 2 o'clock Pacific time on Saturdays, and tomorrow night we'll be on like a 9:15, showing these same cars though. 9:15 at night Pacific time, after Uncle Tony's off, after Jamie's off at Dead Dodge Garage. I don't want to, get on with them. So
Barfla says, I think the 92 C24 Cavalier is what he had. Uppercase says, Dean must have seen a photo alone. Well, says, happy birthday. Barfla says, I need to check some pictures. Polycarp says, can't believe my nephew doesn't want to drive offer my truck for free.
my son doesn't want to drive either. He has no interest in vehicles of any kind, doing anything with them. It's just weird.
Dean says, it's lovely to see your youngest dance, Mopperkane. Mopperkane says, that was a dang nice duster, perfect for driving around town.
Yeah, the red one is really nice, but the only thing people are commenting on is the Starsky and Hutch stripe on it.
Mopperkane says, slick dandy Dodge. Mopperkane says, wait, dance? Where, Dean? Dean says, I wasn't even able to use the keyboard with all 12 fingers folded back.
12 fingers?
Mm-hmm. Mopperkane says, nice to see other people can be immature.
Everybody can be immature, Barry.
Dean says, on your community page, weren't they dancing? Nice car, by the way. Mopperkane says, what is that pose in the reflection, lol? Firefly says, I was in an 84 C24 Cavalier with the 3.1 liter, ran good.
In the US, yeah, the Cavalier here has the Pontiac Sunbird body on it, which is much nicer than the Cavalier because it has the flip up headlights.
Chris is very good that you have to grow old, but nothing says you have to grow up. Uppercase says, oh no, she was showing her toys. Bafa says, kids today don't want to get out of the house. Bafa says, which means they'll never leave. Uppercase says, don't do that with Kim Hunter. Bafa says, no interest in cars at all. I'll get him the any destination spec.
Tavo, I have no doubt he is my son. He looks like me, look like me, all that stuff. But the knife in my back doesn't hurt as much because he's in medical school. And one day I'm going to have my own doctor for absolutely free. I just hope he learns more than he thinks he
Well,
knows now.
free.
Yeah,
You still have to pay for medical school. Dean says it was great, Moppergate. Moppergate says my son is asking every day to drive the Duster.
that's good. Keep him interested in cars.
Miranda says, "Wow, the metallic pink and whites."
Yeah, they're probably not on the car or they were fake.
Dean says, "Planet of the Apes." Chris says, "Gustavo, I know more than one younger person who has zero interest in cars. They can't afford them." Matt says, "I'll set up reminders so I can catch your live from the start. Glad you frequent Dead Rat Garage. That is how I found your channel."
Thank you, Matt.
Dan says, "My dad was interested in cars and liked them, but had zero interest in working on them."
I can completely understand that. Let other people. So here's the one that's in Nayarit. Here's the Ram Charger that's in Nayarit. That's been sitting in that exact same spot for a couple of years now. Guy told me it was sold. Is that the one? I don't know.
Butterfly says, "I have a craving for roasted garlic on toast." Mmm,
You're gonna start talking about food.
fine. Dean says, "It was good. He bought the 352 Ford stand." That was sorry. That was intended as humor.
I know, Tavo, because I love cars so much. He went the exact opposite way. That always happens. That it's a screwy universe. You want to know how I know he's my child? I'll wait for a yes or no. See, this is pretty nice inside. If we could just get it going, get license plates on it.
Butterfly says, "Sorry, it's stomach o'clock."
Yeah, I'm getting there too. I had my eggs, but Mrs. Spec hasn't had anything yet except for cereal, I guess.
Yeah, I had some cereal and coffee. Dan says the Dean was 352 29 plus dealer AC, and the 390 after that it was old 359s for him. Dean says Dabo, it was finally developed humor, which wasn't wasted. Which wasn't wasted in his fine company of the intelligence.
Everybody wants to, or Braden wants to know how I know.
Firefly says science skips a generation. Fairway says, "That's a good idea. I'll make some cheesy garlic rolls to go with dinner tonight." Dan says, all 350S. 350, yes, 350S.
350s.
Braden says, "Yes." Daniel Morris says here.
Hello, Daniel. We're almost done here. You were probably working though.
Braden says, "Yes," several times.
Well,
Uh,
Braden wants to know how I know. My son's birthday is exactly 9 months to the day after mine, which is why I have never done that on my birthday ever again. It's a rule. None of that on birthdays. No, 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 no. But he is exactly 9 months after my birthday. Exactly. To the day. So, yes, I am absolutely sure he is mine because I remember that night.
he wasn't drunk that night.
I don't drink. So I remember that night where we were, where she and I were, what happened, everything. And then he was born exactly 9 months later to the absolute day. So, no question.
Dan says 1977 front end here. Matt says, "My son is 15 and just now really getting into the hobby, which is a blessing to me. I thought for sure he wasn't going to get interested in it and was fine with it."
I did have my son help me with the water pump on my 65 Buick nailhead, and he liked getting his hands dirty and putting the bolts in there and everything. But once he started growing up, he said to me, I have no interest in cars in any way. So that's the knife I have in my back, but it hurts less because he's in his third year of medical school and he's getting A's across the board. Every class he has an A in. Well, in Mexico, it's a 10. They do tens and nines and eights. He has a 10 in every class, every subject. He's doing his best because all he does is study. Because he did have a girlfriend at one time, and when she said she wanted him to spend more time with her and less time playing video games, he said, "Adios." that's that's all it took for him. Nope, nope, nope. Not going to sacrifice my video games. Nope, absolutely not. Because that's where he blows off his steam from all the studying and from the school is with the video games, and certainly not with her. Because his mother did not like her. She was not from a good family, and people in her family were doing the bad things in town. So she's glad that he's away from her.
That was it. It's not all good. Never generally doubted it.
I told you anyway.
Dan says my bumper is identically crooked like this carry-on. Ian says I don't want to bring down Brayden, so I'm behaving here. Dracula says he knifed you in the back. Good heavens.
Yeah.
Matt says, but he became interested in it and it's amazing. Mark says lol. Mechanic laughing. Rafa says Fly Baby is artistic and I am so very not. So yup, she's mine.
Mm-hmm.
Chris says at least he's punctual. Rafa says maybe I should teach her how to paint cars. Dean says I hope the frontal lobotomy goes okay when he's fixing your eyesight, missing affected.
I don't think he's going to be an optometrist.
Mark says mine is August 25, so I am Christmas baby low. Braden says are Mexican girls hard to handle? That's a question for you.
I don't think so. Not compared to U.S. girls.
Braden says in there. Boyd says Missing Inspector, did you tell him that is boring? Do not like cars?
No, I did not say anything like that to him because he's got his interest. He does play musical instruments and stuff too, which is not something that I understand because I'm not artistic in any way. But as long as he keeps studying and keeps going well with that, he's going to do really well in life.
Dean says, my children miss the autism gene. Butterfly. Barracuda says, I see Chuck Norris has died. Yeah,
Yes, he did.
He did
2 days ago.
Dan says, girls mine are
less than video games. Absolutely. For him, yes, because he needs the video games. He doesn't even come in here because he plays video games all night, and he's probably sleeping right now.
Dean says, I don't know if they're related either. Rafa says, my kid got the autism gene for sure. Dan says, I am the author gene. Dean says, he 86 Barracuda. We don't call it dead if it's Chuck. Mechanic says, working on cars, especially newer ones, are great for learning finger techniques. Great practice for a doctor.
But then he gets his hands dirty and he can cut his hands, and that's not a good thing.
I'm sorry, Chris says, Barracuda, the world has gotten so bad that it even killed Chuck Norris. We're all doomed. Alpha says, it freaks school principals out when we all act the same as we do.
It should, because that's like your robots.
Thunderbird is here.
Hey, Thunderbird. We're just about to close out here.
Thunderbird says, hey, just popping in to say hi, working on transmission lines, just out grabbing some stuff for it.
Like I was telling you in the other chat, I think the way that we're going to need to do it is to ship the cars to Long Beach, California, and then have the transport company pick it up there and deliver it to the border crossing of your choice. I think that's the way we're going to need to do it, because nobody's going to pay $5,000 something for a container to send cars to Vancouver. And I didn't like the fact that it had to go south to Panama, and it changes ships twice. So they're going to be taking it off, putting it on a different ship, going to a different place, taking it off, putting back on, going to a different place. I didn't like that. Something could happen.
Dan says, when Chuck got to heaven, the pearls jumped off of the gates and into Chuck's hands. Barracuda says, there's been a lot of famous people dying lately.
Yeah, as always.
Dean says, a great way to celebrate Mrs. Missing Effect. Dan says, once I got old cars to work on, guitar fell by the wayside. I was pretty decent at her. Barracuda says, he's probably sparring with Steve McQueen in heaven. Dean says, it's nice to have a son with principles, Mr. Inspector.
He knows what he's good at.
Dan says, when Chuck got to heaven, God said, here, you drive this damn thing. Thunderbird says, yeah, that makes sense. Hopefully they could bring it to Alberta and Montana border or something.
They'll bring it wherever you want. It just how much it's going to cost. I'm trying to get them to cross it in Arizona and then deliver it, but that's too much time for the driver of the transport truck because it would be 4 or 5 hours or a little bit more to cross each one of them, and then put it on his truck and then take off. So a driver that is willing to do that has not been found.
Brayden says, how would you get it to Australia?
We'll throw it in the ocean and hope the tide takes it there.
Rude. Bray says, the Grim Reaper keeps looking over his shoulder for fear of seeing Chuck Norris.
A real answer would be we're looking for that. We're looking for that transport. There's a guy taking cars from California to New Zealand, and they have to pass right by here. So I would like to know who they're using, what transport company, and how they're doing it. So yeah, I'd like to know that.
Regula says, and loose brie. Dean says, on an ocean liner or a Chinese junk Britain. And Dan says, Death once had a mere Chuck's experience.
A near Chuck experience.
Braden says, you know the Slenderman stabbing in Wisconsin? Morgan Gayer, she's back out on the run again from a group home she was at.
They let her out. They put her in a group home.
Dan says, Braden, is she hot?
Okay. Not really, Dan.
Thunderbird says, have a good day, everyone. Peace out. Bye, Thunderbird.
Bye, Thunderbird. We're gonna be getting out of here too because we're back into the same car as we showed earlier, and I'm kind of hungry.
I have a party to go to.
Yeah, you have a party to go to. It's 4 o'clock already. Okay, guys. Hopefully, we'll see some of you tomorrow night to see the exact same cars. I'll try to say something different about them, like nice hubcap. Sorry, that's a wheel cover. Don't get in the comments. Okay, guys. Thanks everybody for being here, and we will see you soon.
Thank you for being here, guys.